I kind of did it again. I fell a little behind on reviews, so I'm basically going to do a few quick reviews for you. So I have 8 movies coming up. There may be some spoilers because I'm basically going to be talking about movies that are probably finished at the cinema at the moment. So just a forewarning, if you don't want any spoilers, basically skip this movie. I will have what movies I'm reviewing in the description as well as the time. So if there's certain movies you just want to have the review of, you can do that. So first off is Kingsman: The Golden Circle. Now, I absolutely loved The Secret Service, so I was pretty excited that they were making another movie. It's kind of your typical spy action movie, but it's also ridiculous and very out there and kind of in your face with just how ridiculous it can be. I absolutely love the films for this. I love this franchise because of how ridiculous it can be. And it's actually copying a lot of slack because it's ridiculous. And I just feel like that's the whole point of Kingsman. So I was really excited to see the second one. The second one does return with the ridiculous and the celebrity cameos. In this one you have Elton John, and his cameo is absolutely hilarious. And it was a really great casting choice to have him in this film because I feel like it just worked really well. And I didn't need a whole bunch like the first one did. Another thing, the storyline is kind of lacking with this one. It kind of tries to bring in like the American side of like their version of Kingsman, and while it's still good, it doesn't have that kind of strong background. But leading into the third one, I feel like they can do a better job at building the strengths of them up, especially like Channing Tatum's character. I felt like he was kind of wasted in this film. But if you like Kingsman: The Secret Service, I highly recommend checking out The Golden Circle because it is really funny, and the cameo by Elton John is just worth watching it alone, to be quite honest. The second film I'm going to talk about is Blade Runner 2049. So to be quite honest, I hated Blade Runner 1, and that's basically because I had to study it for high school. So if you basically have to study anything for high school, you pretty much instantly hate it, especially when you're rewatching it over and over and over and you have to kind of analyze every single aspect of the film. So going into Blade Runner 2049, I didn't really know what to expect. The trailer had me pretty intrigued. I am a fan of Ryan Gosling, Harrison Ford, and Jared Leto, so there's a lot of characters that I was kind of interested in, like how they would portray them. And I was pretty impressed with 2049, I have to be honest. The storyline is pretty decent, but the duration is way too long. The movie is almost 3 hours, and halfway through I'm like dying to go to the bathroom. I'm kind of over the long, tedious scenes. The scenes are fantastic. The cinematography is incredible for this movie, but a lot of the scenes are just long shots of the landscape with music, and while it's beautiful, it is not needed for the storyline, and it just kind of drags out the duration and it kind of loses the audience interest if the audience isn't really caring for that. Because I know there's a lot of people that really, really want cinematography, and then there's a lot of people that just want to watch a good story. So I feel like it kind of isolated a lot of the audience. So while it is a fantastic movie, it definitely could have been done way better just by cutting the duration, because a lot of people are going to go, oh, I'm going to watch a movie, oh, 3 hours, like, no way, I'll just wait until it's on DVD so I can just pause it. So if you're just a casual cinema goer, like, this isn't going to be your first pick. I did really enjoy it. I liked it more than the first one, but with saying that, I also haven't rewatched the first one in about 7 years, so my opinion could have changed on that as long as I'm not analysing it. So I do think it's worth checking out. There is kind of a lot of plot holes, and they still don't answer a lot of the questions that a lot of people had from the first one. So I feel like it was kind of more of a money grab type movie, and they're going to go into a third movie and then finally answer some questions. So I feel like this is more of, we'll get more audience and then we'll finally answer questions. But if you do like the first one, I recommend checking it out. I'm pretty sure it's finished at the cinema now, so at least you can pause it on DVD. So the third film is The Mountain Between Us. I really like Kate Winslet and Idris Elba. I hope I'm saying his name right. They're really great performers. I really like a lot of their movies. But the characters in this movie are quite one-dimensional, and I find that I got bored watching their characters. they don't really give you much backstory of the characters. They kind of skim over a lot of why we should care if they're surviving. Like, it's a survival film. You want to root for these characters to survive, but really they're just kind of whiny and there's not much to like about them. Their chemistry is quite good in the movie, but the characters just kind of seem forced together. Watching the trailer, I was convinced that this wasn't going to be a romantic movie. I'm not sure what convinced me of that. I'm like, oh, she's engaged and he's married, because I saw the wedding ring. I'm like, it's not going to be a romantic movie. It's just going to be a survival movie. But of course, it takes on the typical romantic type storyline and it becomes really predictable. And I was actually really disappointed. So while it is a good film and it's enjoyable if you like that type of stuff, I just expected this to go in a different way. And watching the trailer back, I'm not sure why I expected that, especially looking at the poster. Like, it's pretty obvious, like it's a romantic type advertisement. But yeah, I was really disappointed in how predictable it turned out to be. That is not meaning it's a bad film. I was just a little disappointed. So the next film is Happy Death Day. Now, the premise of this film is the lead actress, Tree. She is murdered. She relives the day, and the whole process is her trying to find out who the murderer is. Now, the premise of this film is not new. You've got Groundhog Day, you've got Before I Fall. So there is films where something happens and someone relives the day. And they're all done differently. They're all done either really well or really bad. And this film actually does really well. So the character initially is quite a horrible person. So you kind of like, yeah, everyone would want to murder her. But she actually becomes likable in the character development. And the low supporting characters are doing a really great job. The guy who plays Carter is pretty good. The storyline is pretty predictable. They try to throw in a few twists here and there, but for the most part, you kind of see them coming at the start of the film. They just kind of try to throw you off. So while there is kind of a little twist, if you already kind of predicted that at the start, then, you know. They don't really use too many jump scares. It's more kind of the thriller aspect of the film. But if you like horror films, if you like thriller films, I highly recommend checking it out. The actress does a really great job as Tree. And yeah, it's just kind of like a enjoyable sit-down film. It's probably something you're going to forget in a few months after like other horror films are released. But it's still a really good film to check out. So the next movie I honestly regret seeing. So The Snowman, starring Michael Fassbender. I saw the trailer of the film and I really liked the trailer. I was really excited to go see the movie. But the movie is so boring. There's not many redeemable facts for this film. The storyline is really predictable. The storyline is really boring and just... even the duration doesn't seem that long, but it just drags on. And it's pretty obvious from the start who the killer is. You just don't know exactly who they are. If you've seen the film, you'll know what I mean. They try to throw in twists, but by the time there's a twist, you're already bored and just don't care. Michael Fassbender is a fantastic actor. I love him in so many movies. But this is just absolutely horrible. His character is boring and he just seems tired throughout the whole film. And it was a really bad film. And if it was purposely bad, like if it was purposely a B grade type film, then I feel like it would have a kind of cult following. But this is just bad all over. Yeah, I really regret seeing this film. There's really no redeemable qualities about it, which is really hard to say because there's usually like some factor I like. But yeah, honestly, if you haven't seen this film, you're not missing anything at all. Even if you're a hardcore Michael Fassbender fan, I just pretend it doesn't exist, to be quite honest. I know that's harsh, but It's honest. So the next film I want to talk about is another film that I'm purposely disappointed in. So that is Suburbicon. Now, I really like the Coen brothers. Now, a lot of their films are very hit and miss, but for the most part, I really enjoy their films and kind of how they write them and kind of direct them. So with this film, they did write it, but the director is George Clooney. And I actually do like his directing, but I'm usually not a fan of his movies because I'm pretty sure he directed Monuments Men, and I just did not enjoy that at all. So going to Suburbicon, watching the trailer, I kind of expected kind of a comedy thriller type mix. And what they give you is not that at all. It's very in your face type thriller, but it's just like it doesn't really fit into the one genre. Like, it's not funny at all. From the trailer, I expected it to be funny. And that's just not it. It kind of balances on thriller, drama. It's just a little mix of everything, except what the trailer wants you to believe it is. So I guess the trailer does do its purpose by getting the audience to go see the movie, but what you're seeing is not what they're presenting to you. So it's kind of like false advertising in a way, but it's also smart because you're giving them your money, which is what they want. So the film is just complete opposite of what I was expecting. I really like Matt Damon, but his performance in this film was lacking. The same with Julianne Moore. I really do enjoy her performances, but I just absolutely despised her character in this film. The standout of the performances was Oscar Isaac. I really enjoyed his performance, but he's in the film for about 5 minutes tops. So I feel like he's wasted potential because he should have had so much more screen time. But with saying that, I really did like enjoy his character. In the trailer, they make you believe that it's basically about this family, but in reality, there is more of a racist crisis going on in the film. And while it's not necessarily bad, I feel like they've used kind of that subplot to basically say, oh, this family can do whatever they want and no one's going to care because like all the attention is gone from them. But it just seems really forced in your face, and none of that is shown in the trailer. So what you're watching is a completely different movie again than what's advertised. So I feel like that's my biggest problem with the movie. If the movie was advertised how the movie actually is, I feel like it would have been a better film. But as they advertised it completely different, I was really disappointed. And I really want to like it because I do like the Coen brothers, but honestly, this is a very disappointing movie. And looking back, I feel like I left the cinema liking it, but now, like, thinking about it back, I just don't like anything about it at all. And yeah, that sucks to say. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, don't waste your time seeing it. If you have seen it, I hope you did enjoy it. But like, let me know what you think, especially if you saw the trailer and kind of expected a different movie, because yeah, I know the point of the trailer is to get an audience to go see the movie, but I absolutely despise when movies purposely show you one thing and then actually give you a different thing, because most of the time if you show me what the movie actually is, I'm still going to go see it. So the next film I'm going to talk about is Jigsaw. Now, I absolutely love the Saw franchise. I love all of them, even the films that most people hate. And I absolutely loved the twist in the 7th one. I know people give it so much slack, but I really did love it. So I was pretty excited when they announced that Jigsaw was coming. And I'm like, yes, more Saw. But basically, I was hoping, oh, I hope they don't do some stupid spin where, like, he's actually still alive. But I was still really excited to see, like, where they were going with the film. Especially after so long. Like, it's been 10 years since the first one came out, and there's still, like, a huge audience for this franchise. So I was really excited going into the film. I must say, I actually really did enjoy it. There is a few problems I have with the film, like most kind of, like, reboots, remakes, sequels, whatever you want to call this. It's no remake, so it is a sequel, but it's also, you don't really have to watch the others to really understand this. So basically they're kind of continuing the story, but also like jumping back. So this kind of takes place before the others, but then after the others, if that makes any sense whatsoever. It is a good film, but it also just, it creates so many plot holes. So in the first 7, they tied it up all nicely in the final chapter, but now like they've kind of gone back and created plot holes that initially weren't there. So now they've created more questions when they initially answered it all. So now I'm kind of frustrated going, well, are we going to get another one to answer these questions? And then like so I feel like this film, if you're already a fan of the Saw franchise, you're either going to love it or hate it. If you don't like the Saw movies, you'll either like it or you'll hate it because you won't understand why other people aren't really enjoying it because of the plot holes. None of the characters in this film are likable. Like, most of the time if you're in the trap, you've done something pretty bad, but you're still kind of rooting them to survive and kind of like beat the game. But I do really find any redeemable qualities about these characters. The traps are pretty enjoyable. Some are gory. There's one particular blender thing which was pretty gory, but most of the time the traps are kind of what we come to expect. And most of the there is one particular trap which basically they could have just skipped if they just followed the rules. So I'm not exactly sure like what they were trying to do with that, because I'm not sure whether like that's create a plot hole, because like they could have just skipped that trap and then they would have skipped a tape. But yeah, so there's a few like issues I had with Jigsaw, but for the most part I really did enjoy the film. I feel like if you like the other Saw movies, you will like it. So I definitely recommend going to check it out. Yeah, so I'm hoping they do kind of continue the franchise, but at the same time, if this was just to be the final film, I feel like a lot of people could just pretend it didn't exist and the plot holes no longer exist. So the last film I'm going to talk about is Thor Ragnarok. So I absolutely loved this film. This film was absolutely hilarious, especially the director and his character. I just absolutely love that guy so much. Basically, if you like the other Thor films, you will like this, but it's very different. Like, the Dark World was kind of more serious, where this is just absolutely hilarious. Straight away, you have Chris Hemsworth kind of in this cage talking to a skeleton, and it's funny as soon as it starts, it's really funny. The whole duration is funny. You've got new characters which are kind of over the top, but they do a really great job, like Jeff Goldblum. I really love him. He was just great in this film. Tom Hiddleston was actually really fantastic in this film. Most of the time, like in the previous films, kind of he overshadows everyone, but him and Chris work so really well in this film. And you've also got the Hulk, so kind of Mark Ruffalo, like they've all got great chemistry together in this film. No one is overshadowing the other, like everyone's working really well together. You've also got Carl Urban, who does a great job, and oh gosh, I forgot her name. But the villain in the film, she actually does a really good job, and she doesn't overshadow the main storyline going on. Like, her subplot is working well. Like, she doesn't kind of overshadow anyone else. You have a cameo from Doctor Strange, which was fantastic. Yeah, I was expecting his cameo, and it just added so well, especially like kind of the humor of it. Like he's falling from the sky. He's like, I've been falling for 30 minutes. Like, it's a really, really funny movie. And in recent years, I've been kind of disappointed with Marvel. Like, I did like Spider-Man, but I just didn't like Civil War at all. So, like, going to this film, I was kind of, like, I don't really know what to expect. Like, I felt like it was trying to copy, I felt like I was trying to copy Guardians of the Galaxy with kind of their over-the-top retro type stuff. And, like, I do enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy, but I just don't understand the hype of it. So kind of going in, I'm like, oh, please don't copy this. But I really loved the film, and it does a great balance of the storyline and humor and kind of the action of the film. So I highly recommend going to check this out. It's probably one of my favorite Marvel films released lately, and it's probably my favorite Thor movie. Like, it's on balance with the first one. The Dark World I wasn't that impressed with, but this one was really, really good. So if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend you go check it out. So that's the 8 films I'm reviewing for you at the moment. So that was The Kingsman, The Golden Circle, Blade Runner 2049, The Mountain Between Us, Happy Death Day, The Snowman, Suburbicon, Jigsaw, and Thor Ragnarok. Now, I do have another film to review, which is Jungle, which I just recently saw, but I'm going to do that in a separate video because this is already way too long. Thank you as always for watching, and if you like the video, obviously it'd be really great if you could like, subscribe, and comment, especially if you agree with any of my opinions on these films, or if you disagree, especially about Suburbicon, because I really want to know other people's opinions. Alright, thank you everyone for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.